Well, g'day guys, it's Grant here, and we are on for another pretty awesome webinar today. So, well, I say pretty awesome. This is like super awesome and amazingly excited. I'm very pumped for this webinar. So, can you hear me? I can see Mel and I can see Shannon. I feel like Miss Helena in Romper Room. Romper Bumper Stomper Do. Tell me, do. Magic Mirror, tell me today, have all my friends come to play. So I can see Mel and Shannon and David, and all my friends are here today, which is really great. And guys, if you're listening to this on the recording, welcome to you as well. Can you hear me? Just type yes in the box if you can. And you should be able to see my friends from Suits on the front. That's great. You can hear me. Yeah, Harvey and Mike, man, I love Suits. And when I thought about this webinar, I've been putting this webinar together now for, I don't know, let's say 3 years. So this is a combination of so much stuff. So you'll hear me with pages and pages of notes here. I've got a lot to go through. Are you guys ready to rock and roll? I want you guys to take a bunch of notes as well today. And I'm going to give you 5 simple steps. Now, by the way, I made a decision. I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook wall or not, but I've just made a decision that this webinar is so good that I'm going to sell the recording of this webinar. I've never done that before. This is the first time. So I will be selling the recording, not to you guys that are here as my members and as my clients, but to the general public. This one's going to be for sale. That's how good I think it is. But I've tooted my own trumpet for long enough. Let's get into it. So there's 5 easy steps. Let's have a look here. You guys can write these 5 easy steps down. And it's really important as well, team, that these are done in order. So I'm going to be going through each one of these points in detail with examples and a whole bunch of extra information for you. Put in your questions as we go. I'll get to the questions at the end. So as questions come up, just pump them in and I'll answer at the end. Cool? Great. Because I can't see the question screen until the end. That's how focused I am on my notes. So pitch, publicize, productize, profile, and partnerships. Yes, can you pick the business coach that has OCD? Everything has to start with the same letter. So very important that everything that we talk about today is done in this order. It's not go to step 5 because step 3 seems hard and then do a bit of step 2 and then none of step 4, but step 1's kind of okay. None of that. It's going to be 100% step 1, 100% step 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. You got it? Good. Great. Let's go. Let's get into the pitch. Oh, I was supposed to do a baseball sound. Can't do it. Never mind. So a pitch. What is a pitch? Well, some of you might be thinking, oh no, he's going to talk about an elevator pitch. I'm on one of those webinars and, I already know about elevator pitches and I think they're corny and I think they're cheesy and I don't want to do one and I'm not in a BNI group and what's the point? All that sort of stuff. I don't know what you're thinking, but a pitch is what you use to communicate your uniqueness and your value through or via your spoken word. How many times have you been in a situation where people say, hey, dude, what do you do? And you're like, oh, I'm just or I just have or oh, who, little old me? If you're here today and you want to learn how to become the expert, I guess that's why you're here. You need to get this right, 100% right. And I'm going to give you some examples of what a good pitch is and what a crummy pitch is. But first of all, I'm going to teach you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps on how to build your pitch. And it goes like this. It goes, I'm going to go through them slowly, but it goes name, game, fame, goal. Name, same, fame, goal, and game. So, sorry, I can't read my own writing. My S looks like a G. So let's start off with the first one. So it's name, if you want to take titles and then right next to them, because I know a few of you are like this. Yes, Mel Hall, I'm looking at you. It'll be name, then same, then fame, then goal, then game. Okay, sorry they don't all rhyme. My OCD is getting better. So first of all, your name. So that one's pretty easy. It's oftentimes written on your driver's license. So for me, for my pitch name, it's Grant Mullen, author of Heroic Sales, or Grant Mullen, founder of the 90-Day Business Transformation, or Grant Mullen, founder of the Business Breakthrough event, or whatever. But it's your name, right? So get clear on your name, because oftentimes when people are asking what you do, the first thing they want to know is who the heck you are. So start off with your name. Then the next step is same, S-A-M-E, S for Simon, A-M-E, same. What are you the same as? How can they relate to you? What is what you do like? So for mine, I say, well, I'm a coach and I specialize in helping small business to excel in sales. So they can sort of get some understanding. But if I just said, I'm a business coach, they might go, oh, you're like that other wanker that I met the other week. And this happens often, especially in my industry. I don't know about your industry, but there's a whole bunch of people out there that do what you do that are giving your industry a bad name. Not you, though. You're not doing that. But other people are out there giving your industry a bad name. So if you just say, oh, I've just got a blah business, and, talk about the fitness franchise. Oh, I've just got a fitness franchise. How is that positioning you as the expert? So in your case, I want you to get really specific. I'm going to give you some examples towards the end. Now, the next step is your fame. What is your point of difference? Well, my point of difference, obviously, is that I have a 9-step process. You guys know it. I have a 9-step process that guarantees 85% of closure rate from curious to committed in a sale. Now, that's a fairly specific thing. If people then said to me, great, can I have a copy? I'd say, sure, what's your email address? I'll send it to you right now. In fact, give me your email address and give me your mobile phone number and I'll put it on its way, because it's stored in my Dropbox and I can just send it straight to you. But you might not have something exactly like that, but you will have something that is a point of difference in your business. Now, you might not be thinking that you do right now, but this is where some homework is going to come into play. I want you to start to really have a look at your own business and your own life and what it is that you do from a helicopter view. How are you better or different or unique, more so than anyone else? It will be sometimes just one little detail, one little thing. And oftentimes that can be enough for you as well. So your name, your same, your fame, and your goal. Now, your goal should be quite practical. It's a vision. What do you give or do, or how do you help, or how do you go to work? What's the practical vision of what you want to do in your business? Why are you even here? Why do you exist? So it's very much your why statement. And mine would be because I am tired of seeing small businesses struggle and limp along and have hardworking people get poorly paid. That would be mine. So what is your goal? What on earth are you here for? Why you? You've heard me say it a lot. Why you? Why now? Why this? Well, that's going to come up a few times in this webinar. But why are you here? So what's your name? What do you do? What's your same? What's something that's sort of relatable? How are you different? Why are you here? And then your game is the last one. How does it work? So for mine, of course, it would be, so a lot of people, when they first start working with me, just work with a little express program that goes for a few hours. Are you interested? What's your how? How do you get people to step into your business in their imagination in this first 30 seconds of them meeting you? Cool? So your pitch must articulate their payoff. I'll say that again. Your pitch, or this sentence, your name, same, fame, goal, and game, must articulate what the payoff for the person that you're speaking to is. The person you're addressing, not you, not how you're going to win. No one gives a crap about helping you. No way. No one that you're speaking to is going to say, oh, good, well, I'll give you some money today. No, that's not going to happen. But how will they feel? as a result of hearing what you've said. Clear? Good. Now, here's something you got to know. You will not win everybody. You absolutely won't. But it is a great filter to filter out the people that you perhaps don't want to win. So I'm going to give you some examples here of a few different pitches that are not so good, and then I'll give you the specific one that is good. And this is from a great book that I love. It's called Key Person of Influence. And this has got some good pitches and bad pitches in it. Here's one for a financial service business. So an old pitch, or a pitch that you would hear if you first meet someone, would be, oh yes, I have a financial service business that provides advice. Now you might think, yeah, okay, well that's okay. But listen to this. So my name's Grant, and I'm a financial, I offer financial service. In fact, I have a financial advice team who solve billion-dollar problems for governments and banks, and we have 50 finance geniuses on our team who do nothing but crunch data on investment and risk. Our mission is to solve the financial crisis facing retiring baby boomers. Would you like to know more? Okay, so that is a great pitch. How about this one? From I design websites, blogs, and e-commerce platforms to my design agency creates blogs for non-fiction authors. We help turn books into businesses. Typically, our work results in more paid speaking and consulting and book sales. How about this one? From I'm a personal fitness instructor and I help people to lose weight and tone up to I'm a fitness instructor and I take people on a 10-day fitness retreat to Thailand to learn Thai boxing on the beach. From I make furniture and other goods to I create rare, exclusive, one-of-a-kind boardroom tables and desks. Our tables and desks often go up in value and are collected by billionaires and celebrities. Recently, we were appointed to supply our work to one of the most exclusive brands. Okay, so you might think to yourself, oh man, I couldn't do that. It sounds absolutely terrifyingly horrible. But here's the thing, and you've heard me say it before, if you're vague on what you're offering, and if you're vague from the very beginning, you will not get cut through. The pitch helps you to practice your performance. The pitch helps you to be able to command an audience into paying you a higher price. The pitch allows you to position yourself as the expert authority from minute one of having met somebody. Cool? So this is just the first of 5 things that we're talking about today. The pitch. Are you ready for step 2? Let's have a look. The next step is publish. There are a bunch of ways that you can publish. Now, what am I talking about publishing? The number one most important value in your business right now is your intellect. In 2017, Friday, the 7th of April, right now, the most important element of your business is your intellect. I want you to write this down as well. Education marketing is better than advertising marketing. Education marketing is better than advertising marketing. What you think, what you feel, and your opinion on something is far more powerful and far more persuasive and will convert far better than just a fluff piece. Hand on heart, you can imagine this in the local paper, the 4 or 5 hairdressers that are standing there in the salon with their smart uniforms on, hands on heart. We do great hairdressing. Come get your hair cut with us. Goodness me, the amount of times I've had this conversation with people. What about something intellectual? What about a solution? What about an idea? What about a thought? To become an expert, you've heard the words thought leader before. Well, a thought leader is somebody who puts their ideas and they publish their ideas. And there's a whole bunch of ways to do this. Of course, you can blog. Now, there might be some of you that haven't even blogged yet. If you're not blogging, I challenge you today, before the day is out, set up a blog somewhere, on a blog site somewhere. Just set up a blog and put your name to an opinion and write 10 lines. all right? You will not burst into flames from doing this. Some of you might find it scary. If you don't have an opinion, then you won't be the expert, period. If you don't have an opinion on something, if you can't teach something, sorry to burst your bubble, but you will never, ever be an expert until you start to form an opinion, have an opinion, and think out loud and be able to put your thoughts and ideas out there. You will just be in the background. You'll be a supporting cast member for the rest of your life. And if that challenges anybody today, good. I'm glad. Blog is one thing. For my members right now, I'm speaking to you. Video. Why do I get you every single Monday and Friday to look at a camera and speak for 20 seconds? It's to stretch a muscle. It's to exercise a muscle. Now, I've shown what I do quite secretly to some high-level, high-performance experts in multi-million-dollar companies and multi-million-dollar fields, and there are people and businesses and companies right now that have taken my idea of getting their members to do 20-second videos, and they've ripped it off with my permission, and they've taken it and they're using it, and there's people outside that you've never ever met that are doing exactly what I've asked you to do, that are dominating social media right now and dominating Facebook and dominating the internet because they've got good and they've developed this muscle. And again, Mel Hall, I'm looking at you. Mel Hyatt, I'm looking at you. Chris Hennessy, I'm looking at you. You guys have done some great stuff. You guys are looking at your cameras. You guys are putting out content, putting out videos. You're doing it well. And there's ways to do it better. Dean Ewington, I'm looking at you. If you're listening to this, you're doing it well, right? So my team that are doing this are doing it well. But there are some of you that are still using below the line strategies of blame, excuse, denial, fear, and all of those sort of things. Reasons are what grown-up people call excuses to not get yourself in front of a camera for 20 seconds. Well, right now, I'm telling you, if you can't, Facebook want YouTube to suffer. The world's largest marketing platform will reward you today for video. What do you think gets you on the front page of Google? Magic? Pixels? Fairy dust? No, it's content. Content equals marketing. Write that down. Content equals marketing. Content is king. You've got to put it out. It's got to be unique, and you've got to do it often. And this is what being the expert is about. You don't have to be right. You just got to have an opinion. Now, you've got to back it up. You can't just make crap up, but you've got to put it out there, because why? You can't sell a secret. You've heard me say that before. Blogging is one thing. Videoing is another. What do I do every single Tuesday? Podcast every Tuesday, 20 minutes. It's exactly the same amount of time. It comes out at exactly the same time, and it comes out every single week consistently. A podcast. Well, I'll tell you right now, some stuff you don't know. I've been interviewed in 5 separate countries because of my podcast. There is my voice being broadcast across 5 separate countries that I've never set foot in because of a consistent message. Did anyone listen to my first podcast? I have no idea. But then there was the second and the third. I think I'm up to about 17 or 15 or 16, somewhere around there at the moment. And it's starting to get a little bit of cut through. But it doesn't happen podcast number 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm lucky it's happening at 16, 17 because the content's good. I'd be happy if it was happening podcast number 30 or 40 or podcast number 50 or 60. I'd be happy. But you've got to have the content. So when people type in sales, marketing, coaching, development, podcast, anything, whose name comes up? It's not the guy who's sitting at home saying, I wish I had more clients. It's the guy who's putting stuff out there. And it's easy for me. It would be easy to say, well, who am I? I just live in Hobart. I'm just in Tasmania. Who's going to listen to me? But you publish your stuff. Facebook Live is another one. Instagram is another one. Ebooks, full books, articles. Now, here's some stuff. Comment on other experts. Find out where other experts that are experts in your industry, find out where they publish and go and comment on their blogs if you're too afraid to write your own or not well equipped enough to write your own. Comment on pages, on Facebook pages. Find things that you are an expert in and go comment as an expert on other people's stuff. And anyone that comes back to your page and comments on your stuff, you grab them, you like them, you friend them, you correspond with them, you start talking to them, and next thing you know, they start spending with you. Write an article for your local paper. Now, the process of doing all this isn't just for the sake of doing it. This process sharpens you. It makes you think in a structured way. It cuts out a lot of the doubt that you might have. And there's some different kinds of books or ebooks that you might want to write. You can write a book on a niche part of your life or your business. Now, this is called thought leadership. You can write a book based on your story or your background or any recommendations for the future. It can be full of ideas and insights. This is where you take something from within your niche and you write about it. Don't want to put your opinion forward? Okay, write a book of interviews. This is what my next book's going to be. You guys have seen I'm about to start writing another book. It'll be published in about 12 months' time. But it's me interviewing other people, how other entrepreneurs and other business owners fail and win based on their success formulas. And look, I'm doing this. I'm writing my own opinions in with it. I'm kind of doing a mashup of that niche book and that book of interviews. What about a short book of tips? 5 tips, 5 pages long with some pictures. Can't do that? Do a picture book. Here's 5 things with 5 pictures. Download my picture book of images. I spent this morning with Morris and Helen, who make chocolate. A picture book of chocolate. Download it for free. Drool all over it. People will do that. You'll be surprised. We're a creative piece. 62 poems about whatever it is that you're interested in. Find somebody else to interview you. Record it. Do this. This is something that I didn't even plan on talking about. That's just extra stuff that's coming out of my heart right now. Videotape somebody interviewing you. I just sounded very old because I said videotape. Digitally record somebody interviewing you. Step 1. Step 2, strip out the audio. That becomes your podcast. Step 3, transcribe the audio. That becomes your ebook or your blog. Your blog. Next step, whatever step I'm up to. Someone's taking notes. Next step, section that out and make it an ebook with images. Done. One thing replicated. You know what? Then step it out into a 5-part series and charge people $1 to come to it. Right? And then you monetize it. It's not hard unless you make it hard. So don't make it hard. Make it easy. Got it? Good. Let's go. Products. Well, I just talked a little bit about your product, about how to do one thing once and replicate it. But your product, look at Apple. Apple don't stop making products. Now, this is an image I got off Pexels, but it kind of looks a little bit like my kitchen bench at home. I've got 2 teenage kids and my wife, Gaynor, and myself. And between us, I have an iPad and so does everyone else. And I have an iPhone and so does everyone else. And I'm doing this webinar right now on my MacBook Air. And upstairs in my office, I've got a Mac, like an iMac, and then we've got the MacBook Pro in the music studio, and then we've got we've got iPod Minis and old iPod Shuffles, and man, I'm wearing an Apple Watch as well. We've got that many products from Apple. They just have me sucked in for life, right? But your product, you have to create a unique product from your intellectual property. Now, that product should be able to create high volume because it's high value. Now, here's 5 things that your product should be. Right? Now, if you're thinking, I don't know how to create a product, this is where, if you're a 90-day business transformation member or boardroom member right now, this is where you come to me and say, righto, Mullen, we're going to create a product. You've convinced me. You've persuaded me. How do I do it, mate? And we'll do it together. But your product should be 5 things. It should be, number 1, it should be easy to get. right? So you shouldn't. How many times have I gone to a friend's house, a friend who is a coach or a consultant just like me, and I go into their garage and I go, "Hey, dude, what's in the box?" And they're like, "Oh man, that's just some books." I go, "What do you got a box of books for?" "Oh, I wrote this book, and I never sold any. And yeah, they're just sitting there." All right. Well, you guys know that I wrote my book and I sold, a couple of thousand copies in the first week I had it. And then I had another couple of thousand copies printed because I got excited. Well, I didn't sell very many after that because I think I just churned through my immediate audience pretty quick. And then it was like one or two here and there. So what did that book very quickly become? It became something I gave away. So it became easy to get. Now, each book that I print costs me not very much money. So it's a relatively cheap marketing exercise. But the book's easy to get. The second thing is that whatever you're giving away with your product should solve an immediate problem. More recently, you've seen me do one-page sheets that will solve an immediate problem. You've got to understand what the immediate problem of your audience is and put something in their hand that will immediately solve it. It should only be a couple of steps so that number 3, it's easy for them to instantly implement. So if you say, okay, your biggest problem right now is stomach fat, and you want to solve that, you don't want to say, oh, go on, here's my 30-day, 12-step program. Well, that's too hard. Something like this. The one exercise to cut belly fat, and I'll give it to you. It's the one exercise that takes 30 seconds, and I'll give it to you, right? And it's a one-step, one sheet, one thing. Now, we all know that it's not going to cut belly fat on its own, but you just get them doing the thing. You guys have heard my drug dealer talk. If you haven't, ask me for it on the Facebook page, on Profit Rocket Facebook page, or in the Boardroom Facebook page if you haven't heard it yet. But it's just about getting them to do one thing, one little thing, one tiny thing, one small thing, so they can know you, like you, trust you. Number 4, it should be easy to use. It should be simple. And number 5, this is really important. It should not rely on any other prior skills or knowledge. It should be so that any person, regardless of their age or background, should be able to pick up what you've got and use it straight away. Think Panadol Rapid. Any schmuck can take Panadol Rapid. You can take it out of the blister packet, put it in some water, which everyone has access to, and it will instantly solve my problem of headache in minutes. Nobody knows that they need what you have until they've used it once. Let me say that again, write it down. Nobody knows that they need what you have until they've used it once. Nobody's going to come to your gym. Nobody's going to buy your stuff. Nobody's going to look sideways at you. No one's going to pay $1 until they've used it once. So how on earth do you get them to do it? Well, you've got to solve their immediate problem instantly and make it simple and just easy to grab. Far too often, the offers, the free offers and all the BS that goes with it is far too complicated. Simplify it. Sorry, I'm getting a bit overly passionate, but gosh, I really want this to work for you. So your products that you create, they're just your ideas put in a package that's easy for people to grab, right? So it should be something that's just easy to use, easy to grab, and useful for people. It should be a product that builds volume to drive better relationships, or a product that delivers high value to introduce people to spending money with you. It could be a product that spreads an idea. A podcast is a product. An information kit is a product. A webinar series is a product. A secret is a product. The product should be still quite niched to what you do. It should be, as I said, very, very simple. One of the people that I've been working with this year to help me with my product offering, they've taken what my product offering was and they've stripped it back to bare bones. They've whistled every leaf, every branch, everything off until I'm left with a stick. It should be 3 steps or 2 or 1 step. Very simple, very easy, so that the person that grabs it feels successful within 30 seconds or less of getting it. They should imagine themselves being able to implement the success of the strategy that you're about to put in front of them as a product. And by the way, if you're thinking product and you're thinking, well, I've got to put it on a shelf or people are going to buy it. No. It's just something so simple and easy that people can see. And how do they pay? Well, they pay with their first name and email address or with their mobile phone number. That's how they pay. Not with $1, not with 50 cents or 20 cents. You don't want their money, not at this stage. You want them to get the product in their hand. Again, go back and listen to that drug dealer podcast or recording that I did a while ago. And if you don't have access to it, let me know. How are you guys going? You good? I'm hoping that you guys are pumping questions in as I go. If you're not, that's cool too, but I will get to questions at the end. The next step is your profile. Hey, do you like that picture? Who's that good looking rooster? This was obviously photoshopped. But your profile is, how do people know you? How do people get to like you? And how do people get to trust you? Clean and less is better. More and confusing is worse. Let me clarify. I want you to have a look at something that you might not have done for a while. Is I want you to go later on, go to Google and Google yourself and see what comes up. And if there's anything on Google or any other search engine that doesn't raise your profile and doesn't make you look how you want to look, then I want you to delete it. I want you to go find it and get rid of it. There is a bunch of stuff still for me on YouTube and other places that I'm still cleaning up. Old stand-up comedy routines need to be deleted. Old videos need to be deleted. Old blogs need to be deleted. Old messages, anything that's up there that isn't your current message or your current profile or your current niche, it needs to go. You've got to clean up what your profile is. If you do not have a LinkedIn profile yet that is an all-star profile, a high-performing all-star profile, then you need to start working on it. If your Facebook profile doesn't say exactly what you want it to say about you and exactly who you are and represent every single last detail of how you want people to treat you, then you need to tweak it. If what you've got on Twitter doesn't exactly represent you, you need to tweak it. If your YouTube, Google Plus, any of those, if it's not exactly how you want it to be to make your profile stand out, then you need to tweak it. Otherwise, it will be more and confusing rather than clean and less. So clean and less, as in consistent, exactly what you want it to be, and it doesn't have to be everything everywhere, but it just has to be a consistent message. So what is on your LinkedIn? What is on your Twitter? What is on your Google? What is on your Facebook? What is on all of those? Is it all the same? Why? Because Google loves that stuff. Google wants to put you on the front page more than you want to be on the front page. But it can't if the little Google robots can't zip around and see exactly who you are and see that it's clean and clear and consistent. So the less consistent and the less clean your profile is, the less your profile will be boosted. And if anyone is still thinking that we're not living online and that you don't have to do this, then you got to know that right now I have my hands over my face sort of in disbelief. There are still those people. I've been around, you guys know I've been cold calling this week. I've got my event coming up, Business Breakthrough 24, and I've been cold calling businesses this week. Do you know, when I go speak with people, you guys might get this, right? Because we hang out. But there are still people out there that don't get this. And I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about them. There's still people out there that don't have a Facebook profile for their business. There's still people out there that on their personal profile, they've just got all this crap. There's still people out there that don't have LinkedIn. There's still people out there that don't have this stuff. Get this. There's still, I've been collecting email addresses and everything this week. There's still people out there that for their business use Gmail, Yahoo, or BigPond for their business. It's just don't, because you'll be just discarded. It is unprofessional. You just got to stop doing it. And I know I'm not talking to you, but there are so many little finer points and so many little details. You can't be the expert in your area if you've got dirty laundry, if you've got dirty stuff, if you've got unclean and unclear stuff. So your profile must be a whole bunch of stuff. It must be simple. It must be elegant. It must be clean. It must be clear. It must be consistent. It must be useful. It must be helpful. It must be on brand, and it must be avatar focused. And it won't happen until you've decided who you want to help and how you want to help them. So there's 6 clear objectives for building your profile. And here they are. The reasons we want to do this, the why behind the what. We want to generate leads and inquiries. Now, how will all this help? If somebody has a problem, where do they go these days? Well, they can do this. They could go, hang on a sec, they could do this. They go, I wonder if, you couldn't hear the thing properly, but I press my button for Siri, right? And they could just go, boo-dook, hey Siri, tell me where there's a restaurant in my local area. And so there we go, Siri's just popped up. Or they can say, all right, I'll go type that into Google, restaurant local area. Or they can search, or they can, you can always ask friends and that sort of stuff. But the main way people search these days is not the yellow pages and whatever. Every single thing is online. You got to be so careful. Then when they get to your stuff, how will they get something useful? Well, if you have a restaurant in the local area, you want to make sure that you've got something on your website that they can download really quickly and instantly that's going to help them with their biggest problem so they never, ever have it again. And it might be just, these days on websites you can get book with Facebook, register for a callback. Oceana, who I talked about before, they do this really, really well. There are other businesses that do it really, really well also. And if you don't have control over your website, I'm sorry, I know I'm talking to some franchisees that are like, yeah, but Mullen, I don't have control over that, but you do have control over some stuff, and you can all get together and speak to the franchise that you have and tell them that you want this stuff, as long as you do it consistently and do it together. But you've got to be able to generate leads and inquiries. Then the second reason for having a clean profile is you've got to convert those leads and inquiries into sales. So imagine that you go to a website for an accountant, and when you get there, you find videos and audios and photos and slideshows and blogs to read and see all the publications and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be far better than if you go to a website and you just see a bit of information about a business. Or a Facebook page. You've got a Facebook profile and it just says the opening and closing times, but it doesn't have a whole bunch of video and articles and downloads and usable stuff. You're far likely to generate a lead into a sale if there's evidence there. And of course, you've heard me talk about how to sell existing products to existing clients and new products to new clients and all that sort of stuff within the 90-day business transformation product. So you want to be able to use these things, use this profile, and use the products that you create, use all of these things together to be able to increase the average spend. And of course, you want to be able to increase the frequency people purchase with, and so on. But you've got to improve your overall brand. You need to work hard on improving your profile. And to improve the profile, it's a really great idea to clean things up. I better keep moving. Otherwise, we'll run out of time. Let's talk about partnerships. Our partnerships are, quite simply put, strategic relationships. A partnership is to work with somebody in business that you can help, that will help them. So let's have a look. The question you want to ask of anybody that, sorry, I just need to pour myself a glass of water here. Hang on a second. I've been putting this off for like the last 5 minutes, and now my voice is actually starting to hurt. So hang on a sec. Oh, so much better. So the questions that you ask now, I even if you're doing straight sales, like business to business sales, or however it looks, this must always be a focus. Partnership and relationship is the most strategic and important element of your business. So think about it as leverage. Who can you help that will get a benefit at the other end without you having to directly sell them something? So, for example, I worked with a physiotherapist in Brisbane. Great guy. He was part of my program for about a year. And we talked at length about joint ventures. And he found it quite confusing how to set it up. So in the end, I just said to him, as a physiotherapist, who can you help to build their business without costing them anything and by reducing their risk at quite a high level? And we thought about it. And the thing that came up was, and this is why I put this slide up, was the local football team. And he said, all right, I think that I can help them to win a premiership. And by the way, they weren't very good. I think I can help them win a premiership. So we started to strategize on this. We found out that they were losing about 80% of their games, and some of their best players were consistently out with injuries. Now, if he'd have gone to them and said, I'm a physiotherapist and I want you to use me, they would have probably said no. Instead, he went to them and said, I want to help you win a premiership. Now, to help you win a premiership, I want to work with your team. I want to educate your players, and I want to provide some services to you so I can teach them how to stretch, teach them how to move, and so on. Anyway, bottom line was they let him come down and give a talk to the players. That was step one. Step two was he turned up each Thursday night, I think it was, at training, and he did some exercises with the guys. Next step, they gave him sponsorship on the ground. Next step, everybody that went to see the football was coming to his physio thing. So it was about a 3-month process for a joint venture, for a partnership. And it was unlike anything we had ever done before. Here's another one. There was a hairdressing salon that you guys know I used to work just with hairdressing salons. But this one hairdressing salon wanted more clients, as everyone does, and they also wanted to raise their profile. So we went to the local TV station, right, which is just down the road from the hairdressing salon, and we said, who does the hair of the sports and weather people that are out in the field? And she said, well, we have someone that does the anchor, but nobody's doing the hair outside. And they said, well, look, quite simply, we'll offer our services for free, and we'll provide that. We'll cut their hair, we'll color their hair, and so on. And as a result, at the end of the news, for about 3 seconds, it came up with their name. And then after about 3 months, everybody saw it and their business grew. But they went and they had to sacrifice something first. And when you offer that willing sacrifice, when you go out to help somebody to build what they have, then your business will grow as a result. But if you just want to go out and get sales, forget it. It just won't happen. You have to learn to go and offer what you've got at the risk of people saying no and at the risk of things not working and so on. But you have to be strategic and go and find somebody who has the kind of people that you want in your business in their already existing audience, so you can offer them a way to build up what they've got that's no risk and no cost, so you will grow and you will build value at the end. They have to grow first. in order for you to grow. They have to build first in order for you to build. When I moved to Tasmania, this is the way that I built my entire business. In every single business I walked into, I only focused on them growing their business. I suppose in a lot of ways, that's how I became a coach. Was just, because back then I was a distributor for L'Oreal, and you guys know that. But every place I went into, I just found a 1% opportunity to help them grow their business in a non-threatening way. Then after a while, they got to know me, like me, and trust me. And then as a result of that, they began purchasing from me. But it was small steps, long-term consistency. So what can you do? What about this? What about if you don't know where to start and you're not quite sure still? I'm talking about this and you're like, yeah, all right, Grant, easy for you. You've been doing this for a while. Whatever you're thinking. I don't know. You might be thinking at a really high level and getting a big list together and going out to wanting to do this tomorrow. I don't know. But what about if you just thought, here are a bunch of people that I could help, but I've tried it before and they normally say no, or they're probably a bit scared, and maybe we both don't know how to do it quite well just yet. And that might be where some of you are sitting. And if that's the case, I want you to do something different for me. I want you to go out with 5 really cool questions and interview, or 10 really cool questions, and interview all of these people. And the way that you would do it, and let's just say it was physiotherapists, and I was going to interview physiotherapists. Let's say I'm about to deliver a strategic report back to all of the physiotherapists in this area. And what that report will tell you is where all your clients are coming from, how much on average they're spending, what the rebooking rate is like, what kind of outside of your practice, what kind of exercise they're doing, and so on. And in order to give you this report, I just need you to answer these 10 questions. And then in a month from now, I'll give you the report after I've spoken to all of the other physiotherapists in the area. And you start off with your lowest hanging fruit and your best relationship. And you get them to do the 10 questions. Then you go to see your next and your next and your next and your next. And you make sure that you cover as many as you can. Then you collate the data, build a report, and give it back to them with your information on the bottom of how you can help them to improve the results that you've found in the report, and you become the expert because you've got the data. All right? And that's one example, and I could give you 50 or 60 of that. So this is, in a lot of ways, an opportunity for you to network and build relationships. But you network for the partnerships, not the clients. Always when you're networking, you're going out to network for partnerships, not clients. If you think you're going to network for clients, then you'll get 1 or 2. But if you network for partnerships, you'll get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more. I hope this is useful for you. Last slide. Obviously, you can't sell a secret. I've got a few final points, and then I'm going to go back to the questions. So I've got a page of notes here. I'm just going to rip through them and just sort of remind you and remind myself of a few things we're talking about. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed it, right now with the letter L, I want you to write down, so capital L and then a semicolon or a colon, and then write down what your number 1 learning has been today. If you have a question, write the letter Q, capital Q, and a colon, and write your question. And if you have a comment, you can just write a comment in there as well without an L or without a Q, and I'll see that comment as well. Go ahead and start typing now as I rip through these final points. When you behave like an expert, you'll be seen as an expert. Nobody pays a schmuck to act like an expert. If you're hiding in the shadows, nobody will come and find you and draw you out to stand in the light. You should remain consistent and communicate clearly from a position of authority at all times. And again, you cannot sell a secret. Nobody really knows you yet outside of your immediate friends, clients, and family. To make it big and become an expert, you have to take risks. You have to be vulnerable. You have to have an opinion, or at the very least, back an opinion. And if you can't do that, you must validate someone else's opinion or comment on their opinion. And in all of that, you must be able to back yourself up with evidence that's consistent based on who you say you are and who you say you help. So I'm going to go through some questions just now. I hope you guys have enjoyed it today. So Mel Hall's got a few things here, and we've got a few minutes left, and see there's 5 of you here. If you're listening to this on the recording later on, I'm sorry you didn't make it live. And if you're one of the people who has purchased this product today, thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Mel's question is, when should it be I'm Mel versus I'm Mel from? I'm Mel is in a cold call, and I'm Mel from is when you're already in a conversation with somebody and somebody's asked you. So another way for me to answer that is, if someone asks you who you are and what you do, then I'm Mel from. But if nobody has asked you yet who you are or what you do, then it's I'm Mel. Cool. Mel's next question is, productize. Does it matter if it's not me, but the brand, example, Step Into Life, or a franchise resource such as other trainers in uniform showing the exercise? No, it doesn't. It's perfectly okay if you're under the franchise banner. However, if you are wanting to step up and out and stand out just a wee little bit more and build your own personal brand, then I would very much make it yours. It depends on what your needs and your requirements are. If you're wanting to use that at the moment for some leverage, as in the Step Into Life products, then that's cool too. And I would absolutely encourage you to do that. Mel's also said that her learning today is how to approach sponsors for an event. Great. Penny, name, same, fame, goal, game, the non-elevator pitch. Cool. Great learning. Shannon, hi Shannon. His learning was how to form strategic relationships. And David Bowman's learning is to make my online profile consistent. Awesome. And I wonder if you're listening to this in the recording, what your learning was. I'd love to hear from you. If you're listening in Profit Rocket onto the recording right now, please put your questions and learning inside of the Profit Rocket so we can answer that, or inside Boardroom. If you're a Boardroom member, I would love to answer your questions then. But have you guys enjoyed today's webinar? I know I have. I've absolutely loved sharing this with you. I want you to know that every single day, no matter where my business is, no matter what my level is, I'm always focused on this. I am nothing but 100% focused on these things. So, oh, you guys are great. Penny said, excellent. Mel Hall said, thumbs up, G-Rant. And Dave Bowman's giving me a hell yes. So I love it. And guys, it's been an absolute privilege for me to share this with you today. If you know anybody that could benefit from this, let me know. As I said, I'm selling 10 copies only of this webinar. And I'm sure if you know somebody that can benefit from it, then you go ahead and send them across to me, and I'll make sure that they get a copy for $50 is what I'm selling this, which I think you'll agree is very, 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 very cheap. Should be sold for a bit more than that, but never mind. Let's just see if anyone wants to buy it. Guys, that's all we have time for today, or certainly that's all I've written down. If there's anything else that you'd like to know, members, jump inside Profit Rocket or Boardroom and ask me. If you don't know what Boardroom is yet and you're a Profit Rocket member and you want to know about Boardroom, come and see me after class, and I'll let you know what Boardroom is all about. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Watch out for trains, and I'll catch you later.